Alright, how's it going guys? Welcome back. So I've got another collection video for you. It's been a couple of weeks since the last one, but I'm trying to remain consistent with the videos despite things being hectic here, so here we are. This video that I'm going to do today is actually a collection update. Now I know I mentioned previously that I was going to do the Hell's Headbangers update, which is true, but I forgot about an interim one which I received during quarantine, 2 vinyls, so I thought that makes for a nice short video, I hope. So we're going to go ahead with that today and see how that goes, and just discuss those. First of all, before we get started, what we're listening into in the background is Thy Serpent with Forests of Witchery. So hopefully you can see in that light. For those who don't know, Thy Serpent is a Finnish black metal band. They play melodic, atmospheric black metal. And I had always heard the name, just one of those bands where the name sounds familiar. You hear them mentioned by people in various contexts. And I always thought, it's probably going to be good since they come from Finland. And I saw this in a local shop for a couple of years. I had my eye on it for a while. And then I decided to just take a chance with it based on the imagery and the title, like Forests of Witchery, what a great name. And certainly wasn't disappointed. This is atmospheric melodic black metal. It's a little bit symphonic and there's also folky elements. And it's just brilliant, like a slow to mid-paced, but very epic, memorable melodies. All those aspects of black metal which a lot of people enjoy, including myself. So it's just great. Just show you. So you can hear the sort of classical elements as well, which is fantastic. So here's the booklet, just no logo there, just the picture of the forest itself. And then look at that picture, that tells you everything you need to know about atmosphere. This looks a little bit like Immortals' Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism photo session, in addition to early Impaled Nazarene photo sessions, so double win there. Although musically it's quite different to both of those bands. So there's the logo, pretty cool. And they don't print the lyrics of all the songs, and there's a very obscure photo of one of the band members there. But yeah, I won't go into this too much for now, since this is the background CD. But all I'll say is, if you just like majestic, melodic, atmospheric black metal and Finnish black metal, you can't go wrong with this. I'm not sure who I would compare them to, actually. Track 1 and track 4, which are called Flowers of Witchery Abloom and Only Dust Moves, they have similarities to Behemoth, early Behemoth, when Behemoth was a black metal band. In particular, that song called Hidden in a Fog. Those 2 tracks remind me of that melody. So, jumping around with CDs a bit, but Behemoth's album, Sventovith's Storming Near the Baltic, that featured a song called Hidden in a Fog, which is actually my favorite song on that album. Couple of the melodies on this album remind me of that. Coincidence? I don't know. But yeah, in addition to that, you've got probably my favorite tracks on this, track 5, which is called Like a Funeral Veil of Melancholy. Just so folky, so atmospheric. It reminds me of a cross between medieval and Tolkien-esque imagery and scenery, so amazing. And then also track 6, Wine from Tears. That's an atmospheric synth-based outro. That sounds a little bit similar to early Mortis, like before he turned industrial techno style, but when it was just what a lot of people call dungeon synth. I don't really like that term, but I guess it's a convenient way to categorize music. And to be fair, Mortis was the one who started that all. So that kind of synth-based dark medieval atmospheric music that reminds me of the arcade game Golden Axe or something like that, and I mean that in a good way. That's nostalgia. But Wine from Tears, yeah, that's a great track in that vein. Also reminds me a little bit of Satanic War Masters' Blessed Be the Grim Arts, so another Finnish band. But yeah, you cannot go wrong with this album. Really good. So if you haven't heard this band at all, I sincerely recommend that you check them out. So that's Thy Serpent with Forests of Witchery, playing in the background now. Alright, so that was quite long, but now we're going to get in this update today. There's just 2 vinyls I'm going to talk about, and I'm pleased to say that in addition to this being a collection update, there's also a theme. So 2 vinyls, 2 Finnish vinyls, records by 2 different Finnish bands. very different, but as they say, variety is the spice of life. So 2 legendary classic albums in my opinion, which I could not pass up on buying on vinyl. So that's where we're going today. Just to let you know, I got these 2 vinyls from a Thai friend of mine called Preacher Nont, aka Preacher. He's a guy who lives in the south of Thailand, and he's sort of like a distributor of metal music. He buys a lot of stuff in bulk from overseas and then ships to friends locally, which is convenient for me because he's always advertising stuff on his Facebook page, and that's where these 2 albums, I saw them advertised through his company, and I went, yep, I'm going to buy those immediately because they're classic albums. Hopefully you see why soon. Okay, so it's Friday, just having a beer. All right, first album I'm going to talk about today. This is ENSIFERUM with Iron. Now, this is still wrapped in the plastic, so I'm just going to take it out to do this magnificent artwork justice. Just take the time to absorb that artwork. Fucking phenomenal. Brilliant. So atmospheric, so much detail. Hopefully you can see it in this light, but basically the triumphant Viking standing by the horse on the cliff face, watching a battle, and you can see it's the first clash of the battle with all the spears crossing the mountains in the background, and he's just standing there with his sword looking triumphant. Tells you everything you need to know about, oh, that light's a bit better. Tells you everything you need to know about the music. That's the interesting thing about ENSIFERUM. When I first got into this band, it was through the first album, and that was the artwork is what led me to the music, actually. So, as a brief aside, where is it? Just as a brief aside, this is ENSIFERUM's self-titled debut, and it doesn't come out so well in this light, but it's got that Finnish Viking warrior with the Finnish flag on the shield with a sword standing in a rowboat with forests in the background. That tells you everything you need to know about the music. That's what led me to this band, and musically, it was everything I imagined it to be. So the artwork really captures the essence. But yeah, this is a cool artwork for sure, but this one really outdoes it, just epic. So you can see the album's called Iron, mountain imagery in the background and all the song titles. Okay, so for those who aren't familiar with ENSIFERUM, they are a band from Finland, of course, and they have been labeled as a few styles, so including melodic death metal, power metal. So in that sense, they have a kind of some things in common with Children of Bodom, also another great Finnish band. The difference between ENSIFERUM and Children of Bodom is that this band is also a lot more folky. It incorporates a lot of folk music elements, in addition to, it's just more epic and medieval sounding, so very folky and atmospheric, whereas Children of Bodom is more of just a modern melodic death metal band. But both great bands, but this album are just fantastic, brilliant. Like the first album was great, the first half, and then I found the second half of that album, after all that explosive energy and melody, it just sort of petered off a bit, like it sort of dropped off and lost its impact. It started to wander. But this album just there's no letting up from it, just fantastic from beginning to end. So this is their second album, and basically it's a mixture of melodic death metal, power metal, Viking metal, folk music, and extremely energetic. So think about those elements, you just can't go wrong with that. And to save you guys a lengthy description, I'm just going to read the hype sticker here, which says, ENSIFERUM Iron. ENSIFERUM have returned with their sophomore album Iron. The combination of folk riffing, use of folk instruments, catchy songs, and, sorry I don't have my glasses, and both clean and growled vocals have made them the kings of the genre. I would agree with that. Like, to be honest, I don't know a whole load of folk metal bands, but I really get into and love this stuff. Like, in addition to ENSIFERUM, I love Korpiklani, I love Moon Sorrow, but this band is really just something special. So their sound has evolved a bit over the years, but if you look back at the first albums, that's when they were more sort of Viking metal oriented, I suppose. But yeah, what can I say about this album? Just crossing over those genres with so much energy and passion. It's got everything. It's got aggression, it's got speed, it's got energy. It has atmosphere, it has epic parts, it has sorrowful parts, majestic parts, and just blended together so perfectly. Like just interludes of quiet, soft folk music and choral chants and clean vocals with that sort of Viking style and that really distinctly Finnish sound. Like you hear a band like this, just like Korpiklaani, and immediately you know they're from Finland. And yeah, I just can't say enough good things about this album. I think it's even better than the first album. So looking at favorite tracks on here, all are great as usual. And I will say maybe towards the end you feel like some songs are a little bit interchangeable, but it's that overall sound which is brilliant. Some of my favorite songs, track 3, Sword Chant, like just the amount of staccato energy in those riffs and the speed, like that song gets me pumped up severely. Like no point in listening to that before going to bed because I won't be able to sleep. You just get ramped up with energy. Fucking great. Like so much melody. They have keyboards in the background, really intense double kick drumming, razor sharp staccato riffs, tremolo riffs. It's brilliant. Then also side B, track 6, Lost in Despair. That's more of a sort of epic, melodic, sorrowful track with clean vocals. So again, showing their diversity. And track 8, Into Battle. Oh, that song, that's probably my favorite on the album actually. Like just so, again, so energetic with so many razor sharp riffs, clean and growled vocals. The choral parts, and they have a lot of really groovy, funky kind of breakdowns. Like so many catchy parts in that song. Like it's just this alchemy of all these different elements, but you're just left thinking, wow, in my opinion anyway. So that's just great. And it has a sort of epic anthemic feel as well. So in a sense, not musically so much, but in terms of spirit, it sort of captures the essence of Manowar's spirit, and it's called Into Battle. So hey, Into Battle Ride, kind of similar. But that's just my opinion, great song. And then another favorite track of mine is track 9 called Lai Lai Hei, which I think is some kind of Finnish folky chant, something like that. But really just so catchy, so melodic. This album just grabs you by the throat. There's so much energy, full throttle most of the way, but then they slow down for those more atmospheric parts. And that's proven on the last track, track 10 called Tears. That's sort of reflective, sorrowful track again, sung by their female member, so the clean vocals. She's got a really good voice as well. She reminds me of the singer of Leaves' Eyes. You know that song Elegy by Leaves' Eyes was a great song. Maybe a little bit reminiscent of Nightwish as well, but just yet more diversity adding to this fantastic album. Alright. So it gets better. That's not just the music part, but going to show you the actual vinyl itself. So gaze upon this. Comes on this beautiful, brilliant, stunning orange vinyl. And there's the label there with the Viking holding the sword from the cover art. And then just the logo with the mountains there. So really cool labels too. Love this colored vinyl. Okay. And just when you think it stops there, no, it doesn't. Comes in this awesome gatefold. So check this out. So you've got lyrics there, all in English and readable. And then, again, just look at this picture. Epic. Honestly, what's not to like about that picture? Fucking awesome. Okay, so topped off by brilliant packaging and artwork. Amazing album. Just a brilliant blend of melodic death metal, Viking metal, and folk music, and even aspects of power metal. I don't give scores in general, but I would say this one is like at least a 9 out of 10, and I like it even better than the first album. So that's ENSIFERUM with Iron. Check it out, amazing. Well, after that overly enthusiastic description, I need a drink. See what I mean about this is Die Serpent. It's got those really marching, epic melodies as well, just great. Alright, So coming up next, we have another vinyl, also by a Finnish band. And this one is pretty much known to everyone. Damn it. I'll fuck with that later. Okay. So this next album certainly needs no introduction, no significant introduction. People have talked about it a lot. None other than BEHERIT with Drawing Down the Moon. There's the back cover art, great. So as I said, widely known in the black metal scene, Black Death Underground. This is a legendary, highly influential band which came out in 1991, or maybe late 80s actually, with all their demos and stuff, but it's considered one of the most influential bands in the genre. Now on YouTube I've heard a lot of people talking about this, so I won't go into too much detail, but just talk about a little bit about what this album means to me. It's one of my favorites of all time. The first time I ever heard BEHERIT, it was the song from this intro Tiraheb and Salomon's Gate, which opened the album. It was, I think, 1995 or 1996. At that time, I was still in high school, and I was into some black metal bands like Emperor, Enslaved, Immortal, and I also Impaled Nazarene, but I hadn't heard a lot of bands. And then a friend of a friend's brother gave me this compilation tape, and that's where I heard a lot of really important, influential black metal bands for the first time, including Dark Throne, Dark Funeral, I think Satyricon, and also this band, yeah. So anyway, I first heard these two tracks and I thought, wow, I was blown away by how atmospheric this band was. So I'm not going to go into it too much. Incidentally, I was recently in Finland in March this year. I had a week's break from work, so with a friend I traveled to Finland and Baltic Europe. We went to Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and finally Belarus. Trip of a lifetime in 1 week, amazing. So we started the first leg of the trip in Helsinki, Finland. My first time going back there in 20 years. Wow, it had changed a lot. Like so developed, people spoke English a lot more. Just a brilliant trip. And we were going to spend 2 nights in Finland. So the first night in Helsinki, second night in this national park near Espoo. But we fucked up the bookings or something, and we hadn't booked the national park accommodation. Anyway, I know I'm rambling, but the point of the story was we only spent 1 day in Finland, in Helsinki. Then we headed to Estonia. And while we were heading to Estonia, going to the ferry port, I stumbled, just by sheer coincidence, upon Cult Records in Helsinki, which is a famous, for those of you who know, Finnish black metal shop in the heart of Helsinki. Just randomly, we were on the way to the ferry port to go to Tallinn, and then I saw Cult Records. Now, because it was Sunday, it was closed, so we couldn't go in, which is just as well, because I've heard people say, if you go there, you'll spend about $1,000. So I saved my wallet and luggage space. But anyway, when I was going past, I saw this vinyl sitting in the window, proudly on display, and I thought, wow, wouldn't that be cool to buy BEHERIT's Drawing Down the Moon while in Finland, but it wasn't meant to be, and it's probably inconvenient, but anyway, I thought that would be cool. But I got it shortly after I came back. So anyway, for those who don't know, I'm not going to go on about them too long. They are sort of considered like a crossover black death metal band. Like the early albums are really raw. Like this one, The First Years, aka The Oath of Black Blood. I do like this album. This one, except this is when they were sort of like more raw, harsh and brutal, like with less atmospheric aspects. And then with this album, they started incorporating synthesizers and experimental, astral, just amazingly atmospheric pieces and interludes, and it's brilliant. This band, apart from having a sort of black death influence, like the vocals can be extremely low and guttural, like death metal, but also they have these sort of harsh, whispered vocals. Like, I can't do it, but if you know it, you'll understand. Listen to it if you haven't heard it, because it's amazing. And the guitar riffing is just so... These atmospheres they conjure with the guitars and then sprinkled with all the keyboards, it's otherworldly, it's paranormal. This band is amazing, and I think they are unique. They are one of the most different black metal bands, and no band has ever really sounded like them. And this album, in my opinion, is their best. So yeah, like I said, you've probably heard it, but Solomon's great, great riffing in that song, like just evil and conjuring so much of a great atmosphere. Then you've got like the dreamy keyboards at the end of that song, and then there's that brutal stomping riff at the end. Solomon's Gate is brilliant. Nocturnal Evil is another one of my favorites. Just that, the keyboards, the way they use it in the atmosphere, they're just so dreamy and atmospheric, and when they heighten, like, oh, it's got that choral aspect over these grim melodies. It's fantastic. Now, I'm probably going to sound cliched in saying this, but my favorite track on the album is track 6, The Gate of Nana. I don't think I'm alone in saying that. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon, but even when I was a lot younger, like in my late teens, that song always grabbed me just because it's sort of very slow, very atmospheric, and the vocals are sort of weirdly chanted. It's not like harsh black metal vocals, and then it builds with this really anthemic, evil chorus, and then more majestic, transcendental keyboards. I just, I can't describe it, but like it's just an amazing atmospheric song. So The Gate of Nana, my absolute favorite on the track on the album, sorry. Other favorites, Unholy Pagan Fire. That song, again, just so eerie, spooky, atmospheric sounding, and just the way the whispered vocals blend with the melodies, it's amazing. And then they've got these really sort of deep guttural vocals as well. Incidentally, that song, Unholy Pagan Fire, when me and my friend went to Estonia, I was drinking vodka in my hotel room getting ready for the night out, and he came to meet up with me, and we were having a couple of drinks in there, and because I was still in Finnish mode, I was playing this album on my iPod, soaking up the atmosphere. And he doesn't like metal music at all, and we were just sitting there drinking and talking. Unholy Pagan Fire was playing in the background, and he just paused for a minute and said, "This song's a bit weird, isn't it?" Actually, yes, I suppose to an outsider it is, but when it's been part of you for so many years, it's just one of those songs which is just amazing to me. So I don't think of it as weird, I think of it as brilliant, but to an outsider I can see how it would sound that way. Also, Down There, just the vocals actually are a highlight of that, the way they sing the chorus, down there, like evil, but like so catchy and easy to sing along to. And then Summerlands, which is this really eerie, dreamy, atmospheric track with a sort of slow syncopation snare drum, very minimal. Like it's where you see the experimental side of this band come through again. So they're my favorites. And incidentally, after this, the next two albums, they sort of went in an electronic direction. Like on this one, Electric Doom Synthesis, just with the logo, and also HV4 of 21C, something like that. Both electronic albums, but really good dark electronica and atmospheric. So this band is versatile, amazing. Later on with Engram, they went back to their roots, but those two electronic albums are amazing. And I probably like their electronic phase more than Ulva. Like Ulva's first electronic album, Themes from William Blake's Marriage of Heaven and Hell, is an amazing album. In certain parts, for me, I really like that. After that, I sort of lost interest, but the electronic phase of this band is really good. So this was sort of the launch pad to that, I think, but just brilliant. 10 out of 10. If you have not checked this album out, you must. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's imperative. You must. Okay, so looking at the format, as you can imagine, classic plain black vinyl with the drawing down the moon logo on the labels. Very nice. And it also comes, this one does not have a poster, it's sort of minimal, and even the CD version, it's got a pretty minimal booklet, so it's just reflecting that. So you've just got credits with the band logo here, and also the lyrics in this kind of unreadable script, but matching the CD. This is the CD version that I bought in Belgium, of all places, in the year 2000. You can see the back cover art is slightly different. I think it's the same nature scene, but slightly different. But yeah, you can see there the difference. But anyway, a simply cult, brilliant 10 out of 10 album. That's BEHERIT's Drawing Down the Moon. Check it out. Okay, so that's all I've got for this video, guys, and that's probably a relief for you because I've rambled on long enough. But like I said, these are two albums which I feel are just simply brilliant, like two of many amazing Finnish albums, and I consider them classics. I've been into them for a long time, so they're very significant to me. So if you haven't heard them, check them out, because just to do yourself a favor, honestly. Now you can see this video is Finnish based. Like, this is the Vagrab shirt, so everything about this video is Finnish. Amazing country, has produced so many bands in all the genres, like black metal, folk metal, death metal, doom metal, heavy metal, power metal. Finland is a metal country, amazing. So yeah, here are two great bands from that country, ENSIFERUM and BEHERIT. So I know a lot of maybe underground Black Death purists might be saying, oh, I can't believe you included ENSIFERUM in the same video as BEHERIT. Two things about that. One, I'm versatile, so I've got pretty broad taste. And two, don't be so sensitive. Like, they're both great bands, just stylistically different. So it's whatever floats your boat. All right. So that's it for this video, guys. I'm gonna call it quits there, and I'll be back soon with another one. I think the next one I'm gonna do is just continue down my existing CD collection for 5 more, and then we will get into the Hell's Headbangers update, which is pretty massive. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Anything else you would like to see in future, let me know, and I'll be back to talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. Take it easy, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.